Hello everyone, and welcome to our unboxing of Sabine's TIE Fighter from Wave 10 of Star Wars X-Wing. I'm Zach.
And I'm Steven. We're with Team Covenant, of course, which is why everything that you clicked on said Covenant.
Weird how that works. Anyways, let's dive in.
Can we look at this ship?
So here's the truth. I flew Imperials for 4 years, right? And a little less than a year ago, I started experimenting with the Ghost, came out in Wave 8. Very excited, I love Star Wars Rebels. So Sabine's TIE Fighter, which is also from Star Wars Rebels coming out, is awesome. It also means that I can now fly Rebels and still run TIE Fighters, which makes me feel better about my life.
Yeah.
And the ship looks great.
Do you really like TIE Fighters?
They're fine. I like
They're fine. That's
more
what I
AC TIE Fighters better.
Okay, things to notice, first of all, is that this ship is painted in a way that actually makes sense to me in terms of space. Obviously, all black is going to make a lot of sense because there's not a lot of light a lot of times floating around in space. Yep. From what I know from my studies.
In face, yeah.
But this matte actually is perfect for this idea.
Just blends right in.
I mean, imagine for a second that you're being approached by a TIE fighter painted like this with any kind of sun, star, or moon behind it. Impossible.
Just nothing.
You wouldn't be able to see it.
Yeah.
And Zach, the Easter egg that you pointed out to me.
It's the coolest part. I can't believe they attempted to make this ship just because the paint job's so crazy. But
you're not gonna be able to see this on camera at all, but when you get this ship, you need to take it and you need to turn it over and you need to look right down it, right down the pipe.
Right on the bottom is the Rebel logo that Sabine painted on there.
So cool. It's those kinds of things. This is what we're talking about. It's those kinds of things that just change the game, right? This is why we're big fans of the old Fantasy Flight games.
The old FFG.
Hey, do we know which? Oh wait, it tells me.
It should just work.
It's foolproof. It
there
just works.
Click.
Anyone need a dongle?
All right. So what does this ship do? It's TIE Fighter.
It's a TIE Fighter. So this is a set of unique TIE Fighters. Now, Zach, why is that important?
Mechanically, it's important because when you talk
Zach
about
takes the floor.
Yeah, sure, gone. So every pilot in this expansion is unique, and that is important not just from a flavor standpoint because you don't have a big fleet of these just flying around for the Rebels, but also mechanically, the swarm, the idea of a swarm and the mass amount of ships is really an Imperial. It's in the Imperial color wheel, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so that means that because these are all unique, the most TIE Fighters Rebels can field is 4.
Only 4 TIE Fighters. So don't worry about it, TIE Swarm players.
Yeah, you're not
Rebels aren't going to outdo you.
Thunder stolen, and they're a little more expensive.
And they don't have Howl Runner, so it's already over.
They do have a lot of things. Anyways,
let's talk about this TIE Fighter's dial.
All right.
So bringing to the table, it appears to be a normal TIE Fighter dial.
It's a TIE Fighter dial.
Okay, just making sure. It does just say TIE Fighter on it. But let's go through it for posterity. 1 turns, one of the best maneuvers in X-Wing, if not the best.
If it's green, it's the best.
Zach often will just go, he'll do anything for a 1 turn, honestly. I've seen some weird stuff.
Man, you know, if the TIE Advance had a 1 turn, I'd be a happy man.
Yeah. Maybe it'll have a title one day. We have 2s all across the board. The turns are white, the banks are green, and the straight's green.
All right.
And then we have 3s all across the board as well. Just the straight is green. And then we have a 3K turn. Okay? And then a 4 straight and a 4K turn. And a 5 straight.
Nice. It can move.
Everything you could ever want. I mean, this ship can do anything you want.
It's the gold standard. It was one of the first ships in the game.
Let's give it everything.
All right, what about the stat line?
Well, so this one's a bit different because every single one of these ships has something interesting to bring to the table. There is no baseline, but the lowest pilot skill is Zeb Aurelios.
Oh, Zeb.
3 pilot skill, 2 attack, 3 agility, 3 hull, and 0 shield. Focus, barrel roll, and evade. Brings an ability to the table, has no upgrades, by the way. When defending, you may cancel critical results before hit results. So it simply decreases your chance of taking a hit, which, as we know, is the bane of no shield ships.
Yeah, the classic TIE Fighter is you get a hit crit, you evade 1, you get the crit, it's a double damage, and now you're down to 1 health, not so good. So that's cool. That's a cool little ability.
Let me put a little spice into the chili on this one before we go any further. We have a title that I think is relevant that I've been staring at during this whole time. Unique, TIE Fighter only, Rebel only title. Okay, so it's going on this ship.
Specifically.
1 cost, your upgrade bar gains the crew and illicit upgrade icons. So just as you're framing your perception of these ships, think about them in context of you having those 2 upgrades. 1.
That's pretty good.
A single point.
Illicit is something that Scum of Villainy typically has.
This thing's breaking all the rules.
It is. That's what it's a stolen ship. So you're stealing a ship, so illicit makes a lot of sense. And the crew slot, a lot of times when they steal the ship, you'll tuck an extra person in there.
Yeah, just tuck them in.
It's like we're on a mission. It's like we're trying to escape, and it's like we found a TIE fighter. Jump in. Let's go.
Sweet dreams.
So that's really flavorful and also awesome. Crew and illicit being added to these. If we have any of these with an EPT, we will again starting to have the trifecta close to, and at least
it'll get you juiced up at least.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's actually good.
All right, so that's the standard version of the ship. Next up, we have Captain Rex from the Clone Wars and Rebels, which is awesome. 14 points, no slots. His ability is after you perform an attack, assign the suppressive fire condition card to the defender. Suppressive fire,
What?
a new card type.
What?
Flash the signals, blow the air horn. I can't do the sound. There it is. Suppressive fire, a condition is basically assigned to a ship, so it's like adding an upgrade to them when this happens. So Captain Rex shoots at you, you assign the suppressive fire.
Right.
Here's what it does. Here's what it does. When attacking a ship other than Captain Rex, so when your opponent's attacking somebody that's not Rex, they roll 1 fewer attack dice.
Oh.
When you declare an attack targeting Captain Rex, or when he is destroyed, remove this card. So if he shoots at you, you get this. If you shoot anything but him, he wants you to shoot at him.
Yeah, so this is how big should have been designed.
Yep.
Got him to say it.
Just immediately. At the end of the combat phase, if Captain Rex did not perform an attack this phase, you remove this card. So if he shoots at you and you get it, he obviously shot at you that combat phase. But the next round, if he can't shoot at you again, this goes away.
Okay. So he's basically saying, hey, skirmish, man.
Skirmish man.
Skirmish me, or if
Well,
you,
he was a previous clone. He is a clone in
Wait,
the Clone
was-
Wars.
yeah, I was gonna- was
he
a
is a
clone?
clone, and he has joined the rebellion, and he effectively wants to like take the heat, right? Like he's the military guy who like wants you to shoot at him, wants to draw the fire from the important target.
I have friends like that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Sabine Ren, moving on, by the way. So Rex, also, we need to talk clone politics at some point, because I honestly don't fully appreciate how the Star Wars universe handles like clones in terms of like clones' rights. You know, like, not to be like, you know, weird, but I'm curious because
I mean, that's the whole conversation.
I know the Netrunner take on like clones and bioroids and stuff, but I don't
Well,
really know
the
Star Wars
thing
take.
about clones in Star Wars is that it's not a very like common. You don't expect clones to just be walking around. They were commissioned
only in
from
armor.
the Republic, and they're kind of owned by the government. So
Okay. So
versus
then
like
Rex,
Netrunner, it's like they're walking around, right?
yeah, which is significantly
Rex,
weirder.
though, so lore-wise, and a little background here.
Yeah.
All the clones had a chip in their brain.
Yeah, standard.
So that
standard
when the
issue
Emperor
chip,
was
yeah.
like, execute Order 66, and they go murder all the Jedi, the chip basically like gets in their brain, like forces them to follow commands, right?
Okay.
Rex and a couple of the other clones found that out, and before the chip could work, they cut the chip out.
That says a lot about basically, you know, like the will of an object, cloned or otherwise, to have its own freedom.
Yeah,
You know?
they definitely have free will.
Interesting.
But that's why the chip was required. Anyway, so they cut the chip out, and that's why he is still around way past the Clone Wars, and they find him in Rebels and recruit him to join the cause.
But could they make a rock so heavy that they couldn't lift it?
Well, that's a good question.
Let's talk about let's talk about Sabine Ren. 5 pilot skill, same old things. Has the EPT slot, so you can get excited there.
She's an actual
you as well.
bona fide pilot.
And immediately before you reveal your maneuver, you may perform a free boost or barrel roll action. I just love this kind of stuff, man. This is the kind of stuff. It's fundamentals. It's straight up fundies right here.
It is fundies. It's you park in front of a rock, and then the next turn you can get out, barrel roll away from the rock. You can move to bump. It's just such maneuverability.
There's just too much maneuverability. With a TIE fighter, with all these turns and stuff, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like
and
Sabine.
last but not least, the pilot I'm most excited about.
Explain this to me, Zach. Again, for the benefit of those watching as well. Why is Ahsoka like the darling of the Star Wars community?
The pilot is Ahsoka Tano, by the way.
Everybody's going crazy for Ahsoka, and I didn't even know. I don't know what the big deal is.
So without getting into the prequels,
Okay.
which we
Yeah,
want, that's
probably
a
smart.
separate video.
Will
Effectively,
never be made.
there's an animated series called The Clone Wars.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And it's set in between
I've seen some of it, actually.
episode 2 and episode 3. And they had a Clone Wars movie, which was okay. It introduces Ahsoka, and she's this young, like, Jedi Padawan, kind of annoying. And she gets assigned to Anakin. as that's her teacher.
Oh.
And so through the 6 seasons of Clone Wars, effectively, she goes from this annoying little Padawan to a very interesting character.
Great. Good arc then.
Really awesome arc. And also, it's the best Anakin arc.
Okay, cool.
Very good Anakin Obi-Wan story. So the reason that Ahsoka gets so much affection, I think, is that she came out in a time, particularly in the TV show, and was just a phenomenal character.
Yeah.
And then turns out there was the whole Ahsoka Lives thing. She ended up showing up in the Rebels show in season 2, and that whole season is about the reality of Ahsoka kind of goes away and doesn't find out what happens, assumes Anakin's dead, and then recognizes that he's become Darth Vader. And you have this whole season where she's having to deal with that, and they end up, there's a conflict, and it's this big thing.
Interesting.
Incredible season.
So Ahsoka matters. Ahsoka's a part of the main storyline. This is directly tied to Anakin,
She's
Vader.
Effectively one derivative from the math folk out there from the main storyline.
Okay. Kind of would she be in the Darth Maul category?
Well, he's actually in the movie, though, right?
I know he was, but I mean, these things are just as relevant as the movies.
She's like Darth Plagueis, Palpatine's master.
Okay.
Or she's just that character that adds a lot behind what's actually happening. And she was just a great character, and it was really well written and very relatable. And
I get you.
Yeah, she's
all
cool.
right.
She's
Well,
a cool
so
character.
what does she do?
She also has 2 lightsabers. That's just fun. These little dagger looking one. Anyways.
Oh man, that's awesome.
She holds them upside down. It's cool. Anyways,
She's like a sword dancer?
with a whole segment on Ahsoka there.
Well, now I need to see this.
17 points EPT at the start of it's 7 pilot skill. I just got to calm down. At the start of the combat phase, you may spend 1 focus token to choose a friendly ship at range 1. It may perform 1 free action.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
Could be
I mean,
boost,
it's
could
not
be barrel.
it's not lighting the world on fire. It's just fundies, right? Again, I don't know. Is this really though? I mean, what do you think? Come on.
Well, there's a reason I like her, and it's going to deal with the card you're about to talk about, which is the captured TIE.
All right, well, let's talk about
let's
it
talk
first,
about that,
then.
and then we
All
can
right.
talk a little bit about Ahsoka.
Capture TIE, TIE fighter only, rebel only modification. 1 point. Enemy ships with a pilot skill value lower than yours cannot declare you as the target of an attack. After you perform an attack, or when you are the only remaining friendly ship in play, discard this card. So as long as you don't perform an attack all game, you can just troll around and not be
They can't
attacked
shoot
by
you.
anything lower than
Because you
pilot
stole the
skill.
TIE, they think you're a friendly ship, right? This is what makes Ahsoka cool, because
Oh
she has
my
the EPT, she's
gosh.
7 pilot skills, so you can put veteran instincts on her. Now she's a 9. So only 9s and above of your opponent can even shoot at her until she's the last ship on the board until she shoots. So the cool part of that is this idea that she can fly straight at the enemy. They can't shoot her. She can cause pain, right?
All sorts of, she can cause wrecks.
Bumps. She can
She can go to
an
Bump
annoying
City.
thing. The other thing that she can do is, because of the Sabine's TIE title, she can have an illicit and a crew slot. And what I'm building around, and I'll post a blog that has some list examples in here of how to use different versions of this TIE fighter.
that blog.
But the thing about this is that I like the idea of running Sabine the crew on her, which basically adds damage anytime a bomb explodes. She's the illicit slot, so you can effectively get. It's just you can do some funny stuff.
Do some
with
weird
it.
stuff. So now, and performing an attack is basically anything is dropping a bomb performing an attack?
No.
No?
So Sabine lets you also have a bomb.
Can we
so
get
you
the
can
fact checkers on that?
Yeah, it's the thing.
We
So
Snopes you?
I like Ahsoka with veteran instincts, with Sabine with there's a crane coming out in the tugboat,
Oh,
whatever
the
that
old
thing
tugboat.
is.
Go
Where
find that
basically
video.
when an enemy ship at range 1 or 2 gets destroyed, you can flip an illicit or a bomb over.
Back up.
Back up. And so you can have an illicit on here. You have Sabine doing it, and you can go in their squad and drop bombs. Like you're flying
That's
with them
so
and drop bombs.
funny.
Anyways, I love it.
That's so
More on
great.
that in the blog.
All right, cool.
All right.
How many you got over there?
Just 2.
Why don't you do
All right,
Captain Rex?
Captain Rex, the crew card, 2 points, rebel only. After you perform an attack that doesn't hit, you can assign a focus token to your ship.
Okay.
That's pretty good. Any of these higher pilot skill, it's a crew, right? So it doesn't have to go on this in particular.
Yeah.
But you can if you spend your focus on offense, even if it doesn't hit, you're going to get it back, which is a nice little assurance.
Beautiful. All right, so let's go to the EMP device. Actually, is unique. Look at that. Who'd have thought an EMP was unique? It's illicit. It's 2 points during the combat phase. Instead of performing any attacks, think about Ahsoka, right? She doesn't want to attack anyway. You may discard this card to assign 2 ion tokens to each ship at range 1.
That counts yourself. because it doesn't say each other.
That's awesome.
So
you can just roll in and just explode the party.
And ion tokens aren't going to do damage, but it is, because it's 2, even big ships are going to have to go 1 forward the next maneuver.
Wow.
So like that is just nerve-wracking.
That's insane, man.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. What do you finish it off here?
Veteran instincts.
All right.
Speak of the devil and he shall appear.
Single veteran instinct. So it makes sense. This thing's coming together. So really, obviously there's some good pilots here in the lower tiers. All of these ties are interesting in their own right.
Yep. And they're at the point level where they can kind of be mixed in with any number of lists.
But we have to admit that Ahsoka is the one that is, and I guess everybody can go do the thing, but the high pilot skill is what matters here.
With the captured tie, Ahsoka is the thing. I think the best pilot in the pack is actually Captain Rex. Suppressive fire, like if you shoot and you also have Biggs on the table, they have to shoot Biggs and now it's -1.
Oh my gosh, Biggs continues to just cause
break
all
things,
sorts
yeah.
of havoc. But I want to say, Ahsoka adds a new way to approach the game.
Which I love.
Which is very, very cool. There you have it, guys. We got more coming, so check it out there and keep playing.
Thanks so much for watching. You can find the templates and tokens we're using in the videos right there.
And you can also subscribe to the channel to catch more of this kind of content up there as well.
Somewhere in that region. And of course, we have tons of other X-Wing videos, which you can find over here. We'll see you guys on the next video.